So recently, I've sort of put my Michael Jackson obsession to rest, and I decided to focus on a new genre I never thought I'd return to. Metal. What? Does this mean Izu's secretly an emo? Hey! Actually, I don't know. Anyways, today we're gonna listen to every album from my favorite metal band of all time, Avenged Sevenfold.
Normie, Metallica's better!
Safe Boys guys, you're back! Anyways, let's get on with the show. Sit back, fellow metalheads, this one's for you. And as for my fellow A7X fans, get your tomatoes ready. Number 7. This album is, an album. It's not necessarily a bad album, it's just, compared to their other work, this one just hits the least for me. It's, hit and miss. But there were good tracks on here, especially for a first album. The sound is not really that bad. It's just dated. But good tracks on here are Turn the Other Way and Warmness on the Soul. Those are some really good tracks. But at the end of the day, there are better albums. Like the next one. Number 6. I am gonna get so much hate for this. Okay, hear me out. When ranking these albums, it was extremely difficult. All these albums hit hard. But if I really had to choose what I personally liked, I had to do the unthinkable. So please respect my opinions. These are just my personal tastes. That being said, I know, I get why all of you metalhead fans are upset, especially A7X fans, but hear me out. Don't get me wrong, the album is really good. The first few tracks are amazing, especially Unholy Confessions and Chapter 4. But after that, it's just hit or misses. It's a bumpy road after those two tracks. Although some tracks were really good, like Eternal Rest and Second Heartbeat, overall it was just a bumpy road. It didn't really hit amazingly hard. It did hit hard, but not amazingly hard. So because of that, I have to put it at number 6. There were some albums I just preferred. Number 5. Now this next album is really interesting because this is one of their best albums when it comes to instrumental structures. It's powerful. It's crazy and over the top. It's amazing. However, it's not enough to save it. Critically, it's a very funky album. It's weird. Nevertheless, number 5 goes to... A lot of music fans are really mixed on this album, so I guess they'd be pretty satisfied with this ranking. Anyways, Hail to the King. I remember listening to this album a lot when I was little. Yes, I listened to metal a lot when I was young. Shut up. And I remember really liking it, but now we listen to it like the previous album. It's a mixed bag. But it's a bit better because I can probably say this album has one of their catchiest hooks. They're actually really good. But critically, what the fuck is this album? A lot of songs on this album sound way too similar to Metallica songs. Like This Means War. That sounds completely identical to Sad But True. Don't believe me? Have a listen. Get the point? Good. In conclusion, this album is good, but it's not really the best because majority of the songs are not even that original. That's why it's at number 5. It's good, but not the best. Number 4. This next album is probably their most interesting album to date. I really enjoyed this album, and the fact that it's a concept album really is fascinating to me, especially the final track on this album. This album is also, to my knowledge, their longest album. It contains one of their longest songs ever. Nevertheless, the album is still pretty damn good. This may be a very unpopular opinion that it's all the way up here, considering, to my knowledge, not many people are fond of this album. But in my opinion, they can go fuck themselves, because this album is straight up bussin'! I am so sorry for saying that. Oh my god, why did I just say that? Anyways, the stage. What is there to be said about this album? This is really different compared to their other albums. I listened to them all. This one's the most different of the bunch. I've never heard them go down a road like this before. And honestly, I really love it. It's a nice change of pace. There's a lot of good tracks on here that not many people care about. And it's unfortunate. This album is extremely underrated. The most underrated track in my opinion is Sunny Disposition. One of my favorite tracks on this album. It is so fucking good. Like, listen to this. I think I've made my point. Overall, this album is really good. It's one of the most fascinating works, point blank period. And that is why it is at number 4. Now it's time for the big 3. Number 3. Now this album was, fun fact, my introduction to Avenged Sevenfold. So it has a soft spot in my heart. It is a really good album. Although some people may say otherwise, saying some of the songs are kind of outdated, some of the songs are weird, I for one say it is a pretty good album. It's one of my favorite albums from them. God damn, is the White Album a classic. Man, I love this album so much. It has one of the best tracks I've ever heard from Avenged Sevenfold, like Critical Acclaim, Scream, Afterlife, Dear God, and especially A Little Piece of Heaven, my favorite track from that album.
Hey, isn't that song about necrophilia?
So what? It's supposed to be a comedic song.
I don't know, bro. You're walking on thin ice now.
Oh, shut your mouth. Get this guy out of here. Anyways, make no mistake that this album is a true classic for any A7X fan. And I absolutely adore it so much, which is why I consider it to be part of the big 3. Number 2. This album is their absolute prime, their magnum opus. A true classic for not only A7X fans, but a true classic album for any metal fan. Here it is. This album is such a phenomenon. I love it so much. My favorite tracks on here are Beast and the Harlots, Burn It Down, Backcountry, Seize the Day, Trash and Scattered, The Wicked End, especially The Wicked End. So many good tracks are on this album. There's no any wonder why everyone calls it their best album. Now, what did I mean by I say that they're magnum opus? Well, there's a difference between their magnum opus and their greatest. Magnum opus means an artist or anyone's most important piece of work. And this, in my opinion, City of Evil is Avenged Sevenfold's most important album. Because this was their breakthrough. This was it. And this is where anyone got introduced to the band. And this is why it's all the way at number 2. Such an important album that has one of my favorite tracks, point blank period. But now it's time for number 1. The greatest Avenged Sevenfold album. I'm pretty sure every A7X fan at this point knows what it is. Yup, you got it. Number 1 goes to describe how much of a masterpiece Nightmare is. From the title track all the way to Save Me, this album is powerful, both instrumentally and emotionally. This album truly speaks to me, and it is such a powerful album. I relate to this album really personally, and every track on here really hit me hard. I feel as if this album is not only so good, but it's almost as if a final goodbye to the classic Avenged Sevenfold we knew and loved, from Sounding the Seventh Trumpet all the way to the White Album, because Nightmare was made after their drummer Rev's death, rest in peace. So this album felt like a goodbye to the classic A7X we'd know and love, because after this, the new A7X started with Hail to the King up to present. While the new A7X is not bad, they're amazing, the classic A7X is where it'll always be at. And this album proves it. This is, in my opinion, their greatest work of art. And so with that, we have finished ranking every single A7X album. This has been such a fun video for me to make, and I'm glad that I get to share my interests in these types of music to all of y'all. And this is, I must admit, this is a filler for the 200 subscriber special. At this point, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a 250 subscriber special, because I've been getting subscribers really fast lately, and I'm very appreciative of it. Thank you all so much for tuning in and subscribing, and thank you all so much for watching this video. And until then, y'all stay tuned. Goodbye.